Buongiorno, you're watching Carlyle Speaks Wall Street, and today I'm going to show you the correct way to delete records from the database or database, however you want to say it. So there's certainly going to become a time where, if you're doing a job where you're working with a database, where the possibility may come up with it, maybe a record that needs to be deleted. Maybe you inserted something by accident, or maybe there's something in the database that no longer needs to be there. For example, a decommissioned client, for example, and you may be tasked with deleting it. And it may sound simple, hey, just run a delete statement, but there's a little bit more to it than that if you want to do it the right way and be safe about it. So first of all, let me go ahead and share my desktop with you. Again, you're watching Carlyle Speaks Wall Street, and I am the producer of one of the top rated SQL training series in the world right now. 1 million happy customers, and I have a course right now that you guys can take on Udemy, and there's a special discount for my subscribers. See, I've gotten pretty good ratings on it so far, and this course is basically for job seekers. So if you're looking for a job that may require SQL, not if SQL is a primary skill, because this course is not enough for you to learn SQL where it's like, oh, I know SQL. It's enough for you to appear competent in a job interview. That's it. Go to a job interview. They want to know that you're at least familiar with SQL, beyond just knowing that it's something about the database. Then that's what this course is for. So the employer will say, the primary skills that we're looking for, you have them. We also need you to be familiar with SQL, and based on you watching this course, you should be able to answer certain questions competently, or at least explain SQL from your standpoint, your perspective of what you understand about it, and they can be like, okay, he knows enough. We can train him on the rest, but he knows enough. So take this course. It's a discount for my subscribers, and it covers the fundamentals, talk about what it's like working on Wall Street. There's more information, and also some information about like recruiters and how to find a job and stuff like that. It's focused on people who are working in the finance industry. I have a full course I'm working on right now that's going to cover everyone, but right now this is specific to the industry. Anyway, so let's get to this query. So here we have, I was trying to use SQL Fiddle, but SQL Fiddle, I don't know, was down the other day. Now today it's doing all kinds of weird things. As you can see here, they have a schema here where they're creating a table. I'll just quickly go through this. I'll talk about this at the end because this video is not about that. I'll give you that, guys. I give you that as a bonus at the end. Let's go to what we're dealing with. So here's another place you can test out your queries. So this is tutorialpoint.com. So as you can see, they have created a table. Create table names, right? They've given it these columns: ID, integer, primary key. And we'll talk about that at the end. And then they're inserting these rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to insert an additional row into this table. So just copy the query, and I'm just going to make a small change. So we're going to make this number 6. We're going to change this to Robert. Let's see, Rob. I know what we'll do. We'll do Robert. I don't know if that's a real name or not, but we'll do Robert. So number 6 is going to be Robert. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run that. You'll see the results of this on the bottom of the screen. So let's go ahead and execute. And let me zoom in so you guys can see it. So you can see it added that. Now let me actually zoom this up so you guys can see this better. Okay. And now let's run my previous query at, I guess this does not do very well with zooming in and out. Does not like that at all. All right, fine. So I'm just going to do my select star from names. Let's run that. And we can see that it's getting me a unique constraint failed with names.id. So if we take a look at what we have done here, so we try to add a number 6 into this. So you can see previously we had insert into names values 1, comma Tom, 2, comma Lucy, 3, comma Frank, and then we did a number 5 and a number 6. Number 6 is Robert. Let's see if we do Robert and put that selection there and execute. And let's see. So looks like it does not like what it is that we are doing here. So the question is, we have to figure out what exactly it does not like. Just bear with me one moment. I want you guys to see this full process. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay, share, and I can minimize that. So you can see what it's telling us is that there is a unique constraint violation. So it is telling us that it does not like what we are trying to insert into our database, and also normally I like to use my Ubuntu box at home, but I'm not at home right now, so I'm using this website. I'm not sure how these sites work. Shame on me for not playing around with it a little bit more. Like I said, I normally use SQL Fiddle, but it's not working properly, so this. Now, the thing that is kind of bizarre here is my select star from names should definitely work, because I'm telling it I want to see every record in this table called names. So there's nothing wrong with that, but yet it's giving us this constraint. Let's take a look at the browser. So sometimes they allow you to see the actual, let's see what options we have here. Editor, theme, Chrome, tab size, show visible, hide, edit. So I may end up, let's refresh this project. And let's go about this from a different. So now we have everything's clean. And if we do a select star from names, we execute that, we're still getting errors. So let's start completely from scratch. So let's back out of here. Yes, leave the site. And let's go to this site. Hopefully that'll officially refresh it. So what I might want to do in the future is just install something on my machine here locally instead of depending on these websites, which may or may not work. So names, I don't think it's case sensitive here. Okay, everybody wants us to conclude our statement there. Let's do that. So it's still giving us these constraints. Table names already exists. What is happening? I think I understand what's happening. What's happening is this is not running just one row. I think it's running the whole thing. It's not respecting what I'm highlighting. So it's actually trying to add records. Like if you look at what came back, I think it's trying to insert over again all this stuff here. So as a test of that theory, I'm going to get rid of that stuff and get rid of this. And let's run this. Normally when you highlight something, it should only run what you've highlighted. And there you have it. So now we're not getting the constraint violation anymore. So that's kind of how you got to figure stuff out. So you're actually getting a real-time troubleshooting scenario here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do our insert again. So let's delete that. Just delete that. All right, so now we're going to insert into names, number 6, Robert, go to the end. I guess I don't need to do that because it's running the whole thing. So and there you have it. So now if I do so we just inserted a record. So now if I do a select star, let's go back up here. Let's do a select star from names, and we do an execute. Incomplete statement. I guess it wants us to conclude it again. Sometimes, depending on what software you're using, you need to put the semicolon. Sometimes you do not, or you do. So now we have Robert and Robert. If you look on the bottom here, Robert, Robert. So here's let's get to the main theme here. So basically, if you want to do a delete, in theory, you might want to say, let's do a delete from names where, let's see, what column is that? That is, I think it's called names. So now I need to see the actual format of this database. So it's names, values 5 and Robert. Let's do a wrap. Okay, so I'm looking at the way they created the table here. So the table was created with the schema here, which is ID, integer, primary key, and then you see here it says name. So we want the name column. So let's say we're name like, and let's do this. Let's put a wildcard over the place here. Name like, let's do Rob, and then let's do this. Now, you may think, good deal, you can run that, delete it. Some of you already see the problem that we have created. But what I want to advise you is that this is not the way you do this. So what I'm going to do is, rather than run this query, I'm going to take that and put it in our notepad. So we have a record of that. And now I'm going to create another query. Instead of a delete, I'm going to do a select star. Select star from names where name like. I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing right now in a second. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to run that. Okay. This is a very important concept for you to understand if you're going to be doing deletions in database. When we first created this statement, we're saying delete from delete from names where name like raw percent. That's a wildcard. I'm saying it begins with ROB and then whatever else, right? So where name begins with ROB, whatever else, right? Because you assumed that there was only one entry that would fit that. So there's going to be scenarios where you may assume that there's only one record that matches your statement. And the thing is, if you happen to be wrong, which in this case I am, you're going to end up deleting more than one record. So what you do is before you run any delete statement, convert it into a select statement. And then look at what the results are. So all we did is we took the exact same query, delete from names. I replaced delete with select, and I added an asterisk. I want to see all the columns. And then everything else is the same. The from names, all the same. From all the way to the end, exactly the same. Only thing I changed is delete, replace that with select star. What I'm doing is I want you to show me what my where clause is going to target. I'm using a where clause to target my delete statement. What is the bullseye going to be on? Like, what am I actually targeting? I'm just writing words here. What does names where name like, I'm sorry, what does from names where name like Rob % look like? You don't know. You're saying delete anything that begins with ROB, but you don't know what looks like ROB in the database currently, right? So it makes sense for you to see what it looks like first. So make a select statement so you can see what you're targeting, which is what we did. And now when we did that, we see that that where statement results in 2 items. So if I were to run a delete, you're going to end up deleting both of those records. All right? So you want to make very, very certain that what you're doing only results in 1 record, and it's the correct record that you're trying to delete. So now if I go and I say Robert, ROBE, and I execute that, I should only get 1 result. As you can see, only 1 result. Now we're targeting our single record, ROBERT. So you make sure that ROBERT is the record that you in fact want to delete, and if it is, then you're good to go. So now by simply adding the E, the delete statement is now safe to run. So if we go here, you guys are understanding what we're doing, and we go down here, get rid of this, and we add the E, because ROBE has 2 results, ROBE only 1 result. So if I do this, this should work, deleting only 1 record. Execute, and there it is. We got no problems, no errors, no nothing. Now if I erase this, and I do a select star from names, and we run that. Oh, always remember, in this environment, we have to always end our statement with a semicolon. That is like your period. So we removed Robert and left Robert, which is the one that I added. So I removed the record that was there before and left the one that I added afterwards. So now you can see it jumps from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then jumps 6 because record 5 has been deleted. Now another way I could have done that, which would have been precise, and another strategy is you can use the primary key. If you don't know what a primary key is, go ahead and look that up. Primary key is going to be something unique, like for example a social security number. There's only going to be 1 record with that particular value. So I could have deleted, you see in the first column, the first field, I could have deleted where that value equals 5 because there's only 1 row with that value of 5 being there. So I know I'm deleting the correct row. All right? So that's a way to do it. Because for example, let's just say they were 2 people in a database that have Robert spelled the same way. Right? You got 2 Roberts. There's 2 guys, both named Robert, both spelled the same way. What I just showed you would not work. I mean, but the thing is, what I just showed you would let you know it's not going to work, right? Because when you try, let me let you guys see my ugly face on camera again. When you try, so if you try to use that strategy of putting an exact name in there, like I said, if you have 2 people or more than 1 person with the same name spelled the same way, if you do my strategy of doing the select before the delete, when you run the select, you're going to see all the people whose names are spelled the exact same way. All the Roberts are going to show up. So you know, oh no, I can't use that as a I need to find something unique that isolates which Robert. So you may have a primary key as social security number. So there's only one guy with social security number. That's a unique thing, right? So you could target the social security number, or you could target, in this case, the first field has that unique numerical value. So you could target that specific value to have it be removed. So you know you're removing a specific record. So once you find a record, like this is the Robert, however it is, whatever is unique about him. It's not about the spelling of the name, because again, a name is not a unique thing, right? I use the name column. That's usually not the way you'd want to do this. You'd want to, because names are not going to be generally unique, unless it depends on what kind of name, right? Because what if the name is a host name, server name, computer name, right? These are all unique values. It could be IP address, right? These are unique values. So you need to use something that is unique to whatever individual or whatever record you're trying to delete, so you can be clear on what you're deleting. Very, very important. Very, very important concept. Because again, if you go in and you try to delete something with a statement, a where statement that is targeting multiple rows, what if there's hundreds of rows that apply to your where statement, and you end up deleting hundreds of rows by accident? That's not good. So got to be precise. As a little bonus for you guys, I'm just going to go through some of this other stuff that I said I would, that we're looking at earlier. So just briefly. So basically, what you're looking at here is the queries that create the table that's to be used by SQL Fiddle. So the first thing is you see the create table statement, finding the name of the table, and then you define structured. My full SQL class I'm going to do on Udemy for you guys, we're going to talk about what type of query this is. These are different types of queries. So this is a query where you're modifying a database object, where you're creating a table, drop table, create table, those kind of things. That's a certain type of query. There's certain categories that define what the query does. Whether you're just selecting, you're viewing data, whether you're modifying data, inserting it, whether you're creating a database object like a table. Again, my full course will go over all of that. But so right now we see we're defining the fields in the table. The first one is ID, and then you see there's also product name, and you see there's also description. Now next to the field or column names, you see a definition for the type of values or data you're going to find there. So this is an integer, this is variable character, with 7 being the limit there, and then you have a variable character over here with 55 being a limit there. So much more space for description than there is for product names. That's it. Now, if someone tries to insert data into these fields that does not match what you have specified that field is for, then they're going to run into some problems. So we created a table with the fields with no data. It's empty. It's like an empty spreadsheet, just with the headings. Now you want to insert a record in there. So there's an insertion of a record. Insert into Forge Rock, which is a table we created. ID, product name, description. So we're inserting into Forge Rock 3 columns or 3 fields. The 3 fields identified as ID, product name, and description to correlate with what we've defined here, because again, we've already created a table that's been defined as a 3-column table with these 3 field names or column names, right? Now we're targeting those fields or columns that we have created above, and now we're inserting these values. So you see it's insert into, find the columns or fields that you want to target, and then define the values or data that you want to insert into those columns. So everything here is going to go into those columns. So first record inserting is 1 for ID field, DM for product name field, and then platform, whatever here, for description. So it's inserting 3 records into the database or into the table. And here is, again, your semicolon, which ends your statement. And that's all it is, real simple. Get a table. You insert into the table 3 columns containing the values listed below. And of course, you got to be mindful of the syntax here. You put these values in parentheses, and you put the column names or field names in single quotes here. Actually, those are, I think that's not the proper name, because a single quote is this guy, right? But what you see there is actually somewhere on my keyboard. There you go. That's that guy. Upper left-hand corner, guys, right under the tilde or squiggly line, or the snake, if you're really not technical. Anyway, this is Carl Speaks Wall Street. Definitely, again, take my course. There's a link in the description. This course is specific to people looking for jobs in the finance sector, and the job requires that you at least be familiar with SQL. This course is not going to teach you SQL. It's not going to be enough where you're like, oh, I'm an SQL guru, or I know SQL. No, you do not know SQL, not from this course alone. Now, you have a good start in terms of, the knowledge you have. Like, that's a great place. You're positioned greatly to start learning about SQL. But the main goal here is to get you hired. You go into an interview, they say SQL is a plus or would be desired. So it's not that it's needed, but it'd be desired. You have similar skills to another candidate. They don't know anything about SQL, but you've taken my course and you've demonstrated that you at least understand the fundamentals of what SQL is, and can do a basic query and stuff like that. So very, very basics, just enough to impress an interviewer and get you hired. I've already gotten people hired before. People have taken the course and have gotten back to me and said, hey, I got the job, and I love to hear that. And if you're looking for work that requires SQL, you don't have the background, or you need a little bit of a refresher, highly recommend taking my course. It's $50 for other people, for my subscribers, and for you guys watching this, you get a discount. So go ahead and click on the link in the description below and sign up, take the course, get certified, get hired. Once again, this is Carl Speaks Wall Street, and much more content to come. And where is my window? There we go. Inception. All right, guys, I got to go back to work. It's been good. So have fun, be safe, and learning should always be fun.